They say if you throw a frog in boiling water, it will jump out. But if you heat the water slowly, it won't notice until it's boiled alive. That was my marriage. We weren't toxic. We didn't yell or throw things. We were stable. At least on the surface. 2 jobs. 3 kids. A nice house with a mortgage that looked better on paper than it did each month. BBQs on the weekends. Working at Costco. A golden retriever named Max. We had a rhythm. I was a logistics guy. I planned deliveries and optimized warehouses. I knew how to keep moving parts organized. At home, I paid my bills on time, mowed the lawn every Sunday, and packed lunches in Ziploc bags. The world was run on systems. So was I. She worked in HR. Big company, good title. She always looked perfect, even when she was angry. Her job was people. Mine was things. We were balanced. Or so I thought. The first crack came when I noticed she didn't say, "Goodnight," anymore. Sounds inconsequential, right? But when you hear the same voice say, "Goodnight, honey," for 15 years straight, the silence hits harder than a scream. Then she started working late. It started with once a week. Then twice. Then she traveled to a quarterly conference that somehow turned into 5 days instead of 3. I didn't question it at first. I knew her boss was demanding. She'd been complaining about him for years. How controlling he was. How he flirted in meetings. I didn't like it, but I trusted her. And trust is a funny thing. It doesn't break with an explosion. It cracks slowly, like the webs on a windshield under pressure. The kids noticed it, too. Our twin daughters, 19, both in community college and still living at home. They were close to their mom, always had been. Especially Faith, the quieter one. She started staying late, texting more, laughing at things she didn't want to explain. I came home from work one night, and they were all at the table. My wife. My daughters. And they all went quiet when I walked in. It was like someone had hit mute. I joked about it. They were laughing too loudly. That night, I started writing everything down. Not because I was sure, but because I knew what a pattern looked like. You see, the thing about warehouse management is that you learn that every mistake leaves a mark. A pallet misplaced. A delivery not signed for. Something always stands out if you're paying attention. So I started paying attention. And what I started seeing didn't add up. My wife had appointments on her calendar that didn't match her emails. Her location on Find My iPhone was blinking for hours. One day, I found a second toothbrush in her duffel bag. Not my own. But I didn't say anything. Because once you ask a question, you can't take it back. Instead, I started digging. And what I found changed everything. It started small. A receipt for dinner at a restaurant I'd never been to, in a city she was only supposed to be passing through. A hotel confirmation that didn't match her calendar. A second phone charger in her work bag. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I made a folder on my laptop. Labeled it something boring. Insurance docs. Inside, I began collecting. One night, after everyone was asleep, I connected her phone to my computer. Just a backup, nothing fancy. But in that backup, I found a voice memo. A test recording from her work phone. But it wasn't a test. It was a message. To someone named G. Her voice was soft, playful, different than how she talked to me. I miss you. Last night was perfect. I'll wear that black dress next time. The one you like. I closed the file. I sat there in the dark with the only sound being the fan on my laptop. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I made coffee. Then I called a lawyer. Not to file. Not yet. Just to know my options. Start documenting, he said. And don't let her know you know. So I did. Emails. Screenshots. Bank statements. GPS logs. But what cut the deepest wasn't the affair. It was what I found next. A group chat. Between her and our daughters. Messages like, "Did you cover for Mom last night?" "Yeah. Told Dad she was picking me up. LOL, he doesn't suspect a thing." My hands went cold. They weren't just hiding it. They were in on it. That night, I sat at the dining room table long after everyone went to bed. Just me and the glow of the laptop. The man in those messages? He wasn't just some fling. He was her boss. And everyone in that house had been playing me. But not for much longer. 2. I didn't sleep that night. Not because of rage or heartbreak. That came later. No, I stayed up because my mind switched into planning mode. Logistics. Strategy. Timing. You spend 20 years managing supply chains, and you start thinking in timelines. Dependencies. What happens when you move one piece before the others are ready? So I waited. I backed up everything onto a hard drive and stored it at work. Then I set up a second email account with encrypted cloud access. I needed redundancy. If things went sideways, I wouldn't lose my proof. The next day, I changed nothing. I kissed my wife on the cheek when she left for work. I joked with my daughters over breakfast. I went to the office like always. I even picked up groceries on the way home. Because the worst thing you can do when someone is lying to you is let them know you see through them. That Friday, I called out sick and followed her car. GPS helped, but I wanted visual confirmation. She wasn't going to work. She drove 30 minutes to a gated business condo. Parked. Walked into Unit 5A. 10 minutes later, he arrived. Her boss. Same SUV I'd seen on our driveway during that one barbecue. They didn't come out for hours. Back at home, I made copies of the security footage from our front door cam, going back 2 months. I noted how often he dropped her off late. How she always walked in smiling, adjusting her hair. Still, I didn't confront. I needed a trigger. I needed the perfect moment where all the pieces aligned. So I created one. Her birthday was coming up. We always did a family dinner. Kids, her parents, sometimes a couple friends. This year, I told her I wanted it to be special. That I'd take care of everything. She looked surprised, maybe even touched. She had no idea. I booked a private dining room at a nice restaurant. Told her it was just the 6 of us, her, me, the girls, her mom and dad. But I invited someone else. Her boss's wife. She and I had never talked before. I reached out through a burner account. Sent her 3 screenshots. 1 video. She responded in under 10 minutes. What time should I be there? I gave her the address. And the date. And I knew then, this story was going to break wide open. The night of her birthday arrived like the final page in a book she didn't know she was starring in. She wore red, not her usual choice, a signal maybe to him. Maybe to herself. She looked beautiful. I noticed. I just didn't care anymore. We arrived separately. I told her I'd meet them there because I had to stop by work. Lie. I was there early, making sure the table was set, the guest list confirmed, the camera running discreetly from a shelf across the room. Her mother greeted me with a hug. Her father asked if I was okay. I smiled. Never better. She walked in at 6:57 p.m. sharp, with our daughters flanking her like emotional security guards. She kissed me on the cheek like nothing was broken. The girls laughed too loud at nothing. The table was round. No one could hide. We toasted. Ate. Talked about safe things, weather, school, politics. I waited. At 7:23, she walked in. The other woman. Grace. His wife. She wore navy blue and composure. My wife's smile faltered when she saw her. Her fork froze mid-air. Who's that? She asked. I didn't answer. Grace walked straight to the table. Calm, slow, like a storm wearing heels. "Happy birthday," she said. Then turned to me. "Thanks for the invitation." My wife blinked. "I don't understand." "Oh, you will." I reached into my jacket and placed a manila folder on the table. Inside, printed screenshots. Hotel receipts. Copies of the group chat. A USB drive with video from our doorbell cam. Voice memos. GPS logs. The girls looked down. Ashamed, maybe? Or afraid? Her father took the folder. Read the first page. Said nothing. Her mother gasped. She didn't move. Didn't blink. Just sat there, eyes wide. "Is this?" she started. "Yes," I said. "It is." Silence. Grace looked at her. "He did the same thing to me. But I didn't expect you to help him." My wife finally stood. "We should talk. Privately." "We're well past that," I replied. I stood up, pulled another envelope from my coat pocket, and handed it to her. "Divorce papers," I said. "Signed. Just needs yours." She opened her mouth. Closed it. Took the envelope. And I walked out. Past her. Past the girls. Past the wreckage they helped build. The door closed behind me. It was quiet. For the first time in months, it felt like peace that I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. Nothing fancy. Neutral carpets, beige walls, a balcony with a view of the parking lot. It was the kind of place people pass through, not stay in. But it was mine. The first night alone was loud in all the wrong ways. Not from traffic or neighbors, from memory. Every quiet moment echoed with the past. The way she used to hum while loading the dishwasher. The laughter of our girls in the hallway. Even the creak in the stairs I used to curse now felt like something I missed. But there was also relief. I didn't have to guess anymore. No more pretending, no more forced smiles, no more wondering if the kiss goodbye meant anything. I started sleeping again. Not well, not at first. But without the pit in my chest. And when I woke up, there was no performance waiting. No script. Just coffee, silence, and time. She texted 3 days later. "Can we talk?" I stared at the message for a long time. Didn't reply. She called the next night. I let it ring. Then came a message from Faith. "I didn't know what else to do. I'm sorry, Dad." I replied to that one. "Then you do now." That was it. No lecture. No guilt trip. I wasn't here to teach grown people lessons they chose to ignore. Grace reached out too. We met once. Coffee. She looked tired but sharp. Said she was divorcing him. Said the company launched an internal investigation. Said my file helped. I nodded. Didn't feel like a win. Just a chapter closing. She slid me a manila envelope. "In case you want to see what your wife was really telling him." I took it, but I never opened it. Some things don't need confirmation. I got a dog. Not a golden retriever. Too many ghosts in that choice. A mutt from the shelter. One blue eye, one brown. Loyal like he'd known me for years. We went on long walks. I started reading again. Cooking for one. Strange, how peaceful a quiet dinner can be when no one's lying to your face. Some nights I missed my daughters. But I knew time would do its work. They'd come around. Or they wouldn't. Either way, I wasn't living in someone else's illusion anymore. That house, that life, that version of me, it was gone. And for the first time in forever, I didn't want it back. It was a Thursday when she showed up. I was folding laundry. One of those simple chores that keeps your hands busy while your mind wanders. The dog barked once, low and confused. I peeked through the peephole. It was my youngest, Emily. She stood there in a hoodie too big for her, clutching her phone like a lifeline. I opened the door but said nothing. She didn't smile. Didn't try to soften it. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She walked past me, sat on the couch like she had a right to be there, like the last 3 weeks hadn't been silent. She didn't start with an apology. She started with a question. Do you hate us? I sat down across from her. Not angry. Not soft. No. But I don't trust you. And that might be worse. She nodded like she'd rehearsed the possibility. I didn't know how to stop it, she said. Mom pulled us into it early. At first it was just covering for one night. Then it became normal. And no one said anything? Faith said we shouldn't get involved. I said you'd figure it out. But Mom, she made it feel like it was protecting you. I laughed. Bitter. Quiet. Protecting me from what? The truth? She looked down. From breaking apart. You think I wasn't already broken? We sat in silence. The dog laid his head on her foot. She didn't move. I want to fix it, she said. Then stop defending her. Start being honest. That's all I ever wanted. She nodded again. This time slower. Can I come back sometimes? Just to visit? I looked around the apartment. It wasn't homey. Not yet. But there was space. And not just on the couch. One step at a time. She smiled. Small. Real. We didn't hug. But we didn't need to. Not yet. That night I got a text from Faith. Short. Direct. Did Emily really come see you? I replied. She did. You can too. When you're ready to talk. Not lie. She didn't reply. But I left the porch light on anyway. 3 months passed. Seasons shifted. Snow melted. The world moved on, like it always does. Quietly. Indifferently. The divorce was finalized on a Wednesday. I signed the last page with a black pen I didn't even like. No ceremony, no catharsis. Just a notary's nod and the click of a folder closing. She didn't fight it. Didn't ask for anything more than what we agreed on. Maybe guilt finally did its job. Or maybe she knew there was no winning this time. Faith came by a week later. We sat on the same couch Emily had. She cried. Not loud. Not performative. Just quiet tears she didn't wipe away. I wanted to tell you, she said. So many times. But I thought you'd hate me. I never hated you, I said. I just needed the truth. And you needed to want to give it. We didn't fix everything that day. But it was a start. I saw Grace again too. She'd taken a new job. Moved to a new place. Her divorce was public, messy, tabloid level, but she walked through it with grace fitting her name. We kept it simple. 2 people with shared scars and no pressure to pretend. One night we sat outside a diner, watching trucks roll by. She looked at me and asked, Do you regret any of it? I thought about it. No, I said. I regret trusting the wrong people. But not being the kind of man who could be trusted. She nodded. That's rare. Max, the dog, now older and slower, still greets me like I'm the only man on earth. Some days that's enough. The apartment started to feel like home. I hung a few pictures. Bought railed dishes. Planted a tomato in a pot on the balcony. Not because I needed it, just because I could. Life didn't get easier. It just got real. And real, I've learned, is better than comfortable lies. The old me? The man who overlooked signs, who gave and gave without asking why, he's gone. What's left is someone quieter, sharper, less trusting. But not bitter. I still leave the porch light on some nights. Not for her. Not anymore. But for the man I almost forgot I could be.